Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Batman Return of the Joker for the NES. This is an interesting one. It's a follow-up to Batman the video game, also by Sunsoft, and it is quite a different beast compared to the first game. The first game had smaller sprites, it had different gameplay. Batman could punch, for instance, and it was actually a very powerful attack. In this game, Batman only has firearms, the sprites are considerably larger, and also it's extremely memorization focused, so there's a lot of memorization required in this game, otherwise you will just never get through it. It's that kind of game. Now the first Batman on NES had very difficult sections as well, but it at least eased you into that. This game is hard right from the very beginning of the game, and I think a lot of people that play this, a lot of people that don't have high patience are gonna basically quit fairly early in this game. There's some really trollish sections that I'll talk about as we go through this, and for those of you guys that have never seen this, you'll know exactly what I mean the second you see it, just by watching. It's kind of a nasty game in that regard, which is kind of a shame because it's got great graphics, it's got great music, it's a very impressive game from those angles. And Sunsoft always killed it with the soundtracks, and this game is no different. It's got some great tunes in here, but the very tense memorization-heavy gameplay can be very, very frustrating, and so this game is definitely not for everybody. So, but yeah, we're gonna go through this whole game. I'm gonna explain strategies I've personally figured out myself. And if you've played this game before but haven't finished it, or you're thinking about trying to play this game and you need some tips or strategies, this video should do the trick for you. So, but yeah, with that, before we jump into the game itself, as usual, I'd like to give a big shout out to my current Patreon backers, so they're going to flash by the screen. Thank you guys for your continued support. Likewise with the recent live stream super chatters and channel members, they're going to flash by as well. Keep in mind, guys, I do live streams here every Thursday night, so if you're around, feel free to stop in and say hello. So with that, let's go ahead and hit the start button, just like so. Now you do have passwords in this game. If you want to access your passwords, you just have to hit the start button, basically pause the game on any part of the game. So Batman can duck, he can jump, he can shoot left or right, and he can shoot up. Look at those animations. Very nice attention to detail in this game. He can also do a slide, just like so. You press down and attack. Boxes usually reveal weapon power-ups, and you can shoot them to cycle through them. I always pick C, and there's going to be an enemy right here we're going to shoot, and we'll go ahead and switch back to normal real quick. But this is what I was talking about with the trollish enemy and trap design. You're probably going to get hit by some of these the first time you play this, and, well, hell, probably the first few times you play it until you memorize it. There is a lot of enemy and trap placement like that in this game. And so, if you play this for the first time, expect to get hit a lot, actually. So let's go ahead and see if we can cycle this back over to C. I'm not able to in time. There's also going to be another guy right here. Interestingly, this guy can actually get blocked by the box in front of him. So a lot of times what I do here is I just skip the enemy. I just jump up here real fast, and let's go ahead and switch over to C. So one other thing you can do in this game is charge. So Batman does have charging in this game. So every weapon has its own special charge attack, which is nice. For these little gargoyles here, what I like to do is you want to wait for their heads to charge up, basically start flashing. And when they start flashing, that's when they're weak. And with the C attack, you can kill them in one hit, as long as you're up close to them. So this is our first auto-scroller section in the game. There are a couple of these over the course of the game. What I like to do is basically just constantly charge with any attack I've got. Well, not necessarily any attack I've got. If I play with the N weapon, or if I play with the S weapon, I'll actually just use those normally. I won't bother charging them up. But with the C attack, I always just sit in the back, and I charge up, just like so. Now, Batman Return of the Joker doesn't have a scoring system of any kind, which is kind of disappointing. And so, you know, there's no real reason to pick up weapons a second time. They don't get upgraded. They don't get upgraded any further. The only reason you want to pick them up is to switch weapons. And again, to switch weapons, you have to shoot the power-up canisters, and the letter on that canister will change. And these little guys right here, these are, you know, other power-up icons you get. They fill up the B meter, which is underneath your L meter, your life meter, at the top left-hand portion of the screen. Once the B meter is filled up, you'll turn into a gold-suited Batman. You'll be invincible for a short period of time, and whatnot. And it's not bad. For this boss right here, what I like to do is just get behind him, kind of like so. He'll bust out his walkie-talkie like that, and when he does that, he'll call out these little drones and whatnot. What's really cool about the C weapon is that it'll actually split off into 4 directions as it makes contact with enemies and whatnot. And let's get behind him again. Ooh, he turned around. That's not good. This boss is actually really tricky to do damageless if you try to do him without taking damage. You know, a lot of times he'll face one way, but then he'll just turn around and start shooting in the opposite direction. There doesn't seem like there's a lot of rhythm or rhyme to it. But my strategy for that boss is just to try to get behind him. If I get behind him, a lot of times I get a lot of free hits off on him and whatnot. And there's an enemy right there, and then another one right there, and then there's going to be another one up top here. So these enemies, they have a tendency of just appearing the second you scroll the screen over. And a lot of times these guys are firing immediately. There's no delay, and that's one of the frustrating parts of this game. Enemies are just extremely fast to start shooting at you in this game. And so you're going to take a lot of unfortunate hits. There's a guy up here. He actually sort of seems to appear in a variety of different places. Sometimes he'll appear right up there. Sometimes he'll appear right there, and he'll start walking around. What I like to do is take him out from down below. Otherwise, what happens is you jump up on that moving platform, and you will end up taking a hit by him. You'll actually end up slamming into him, unfortunately. And this part right here is actually pretty easy to deal with. You just have to, this is basically on a timer. So if you let it go off the screen and then count, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, kind of like that. And we're going to go ahead and jump. You just have to predict it and then jump on it, and then you're on to stage 2-2. This is a shoot 'em up section in the game. There are 2 of these over the course of the game. What's kind of funny about these stages is that there are no bosses on these levels, strangely. I don't really know why there aren't any bosses. So aspects of this game, parts of this game feel a little unfinished, surprisingly, which is kind of odd. I wonder if this game was rushed at all. But yeah, no bosses in these shoot 'em up sections, kind of a missed opportunity if you ask me. I do like it when games like this, you know, branch out with shoot 'em up sections and whatnot. It mixes up the gameplay, but I especially like it when games like these have their own unique boss fights, because it's just a totally different take on bosses than what you would get with just standard side-scrolling action platforming or whatnot. So, and that's it. We beat the level. These are actually really, really easy levels. So they're kind of breather stages, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever died on any of the shoot 'em up sections. And stage 3-1, probably the nastiest level in the game. So there are going to be some missiles that fall down from the sky, and unfortunately there is no sound cue or anything. So I like to use visual cues. One visual cue is this tree right here, and we just inch our way forward like that. As long as you just inch your way forward, the rockets won't hit you. Also, our first tornado enemy is right here at this tree, and they shoot these tornadoes. They can shoot them upwards, or they can shoot them straight forward. That first one shoots it straight forward. There's going to be another one right here that shoots it up like that. It's very difficult to avoid their tornadoes, but with a certain strategy you can get by them. There's going to be another rocket here at this middle sort of hump. So we fall down like this, just inch our way forward. There's a rocket. There's going to be another one by the tree, and another one by this jump. So just inch our way forward. And also we're going to sort of try to jump and hit the left side of that middle platform and then jump straight up like this. If you don't do that, you will probably get hit by that tornado, and in many cases, you will actually get knocked back. Same with this part right here. We're going to jump and just fall down like this, and then just inch our way forward. That's a tornado guy that shoots them vertically. Not vertically, but he shoots them upwards. And so we're going to go ahead and just run down here. Nothing too crazy at this moment in time, but more rockets. So we're going to jump and inch our way forward like this, and then we're going to land on that patch of snow, and then jump again. And then jump again, just like that. Another rocket right there I wasn't paying attention to. And what we're gonna do is try to jump here and then jump again. Very tight jump over that tornado. And there's gonna be one more tornado guy right here. And I was kind of dumb and I just jumped right into the tornado. But no more enemies, so we're good. We have 4 blocks of health. We should probably be able to get through this section. without dying, hopefully. And notice up on the ceiling, there's a discolored rock. That rock is going to fall on us, and you don't want to get hit by the parts that split apart. You will still take damage. There's also going to be a knife guy here, so we're going to land on the edge of this platform, then jump immediately. So that's what I was talking about earlier, about how a lot of these guys, like the second they appear, their projectile is coming out of their hands. It's very nasty game design, very brutal. And honestly, not that much fun in a lot of cases, which is why I generally only recommend this game for people that are really into memorization-heavy games. It is a very memorization-heavy game, and we might actually get Gold Batman here, and I don't really want to use it yet. Okay, he didn't drop any power-ups, which is good, otherwise I would have gotten Gold Batman. Alright, so these spikes here, you can duck under these, just like so, but you don't want to touch them. Obviously, I mean, spikes in video games are generally bad, but spikes in this game are especially bad because you will die in one hit if you touch them. As long as you have the C attack, you can actually kill these spiders on the ground in one hit. And we're gonna wait. Fortunately, there's no timer in this game, so there's not a lot of stress. You can actually just sit in place as long as you want, analyze the situation and whatnot. But yeah, we got through that section pretty well. That was actually pretty good. So now we're at this boss fight now. We're gonna jump over here. He's gonna shoot some lasers. We're gonna jump over the lasers just like that. And we're gonna let him get close, like so. And then jump over just like that. And it's just rinse and repeat. A lot like the first Batman, the boss fights are generally about rinsing and repeating. So they're not very complex in that regard. They are very dangerous, but they're also not very complex. So just jump, just like so. Now figuring out these bosses is actually pretty tough, and that was definitely one of the hardest parts of this playthrough, was actually figuring out the bosses. And jump again, just like so. And then jump over like that. Now your main shot from this platform here will unfortunately go over this guy's head when he's on the lowest set of rocks. And so what I like to do is I like to charge when I'm up here, otherwise none of my shots will actually connect with him. And there we go, I think we did that without taking a single hit, so that was actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, you don't really get any bonuses or anything for defeating bosses without taking damage or anything, no extra lives or anything. And funny enough, there are actually 0 extra lives in this game, so... but what I like to do in this section is actually just constantly charge with my C attack. And here we go, we've got Gold Batman. Unfortunately, Gold Batman does not last very long at all. It's a very short... it's a very short power-up, very short-lasting power-up. But yeah, I constantly just charge up here because these flying guys are actually pretty annoying to deal with. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually skip power-ups if I see them, because... what happens when you pick up a weapon again is that you lose your charge. So if you're currently charged up, which is actually pretty important in a lot of parts of this game, in terms of survival and whatnot, you need to make sure that you're not having your charge be interrupted. Ooh, that was actually really close right there. And I don't want to take too much more damage, because I don't want to go into this next section with too little health. The next section can actually be fairly tough. There are 2 elevators you have to go through, and they've got some dense projectiles that come your way and can be a little tricky to avoid. And we're going to go ahead and just wait for this power-up to disappear. Fortunately, these power-ups, they don't last that long. Well, not really, fortunately. It is kind of annoying how short they last, because... remember that you have to shoot those power-ups to cycle through them, and it's tough to get the power-up you want. If you're on a weapon that you don't really want, and you want to change weapons, getting the weapon that you want is definitely easier said than done. And I'm going to go ahead and slide over here. Ooh, still took a hit though, unfortunately. So I'm going to charge up and hit this guy from the side. And try to... oops, messed up again. There we go. Generally, you want to try to hit those guys head on. Alright, and then one more B icon should turn us back into Gold Batman again. And that's it for this section. We're going to go to another elevator after a slight platforming section. No enemies on this section, actually, so what I'm going to do is just skip all these boxes. These are all just weapon upgrades, and there's so many weapon upgrades, I don't really understand it. It's like, was this game designed with two-player mode in mind or something like that? Or was it designed with some kind of, you know, special upgrade system in mind where if you pick up multiple upgrades, you get rewarded for it? I have no idea. So a lot of these box placements really seem redundant, unfortunately. And what this game probably could have used, to be honest with you, is some health pickups. And this is actually kind of bad. I'm not paying attention, so I'm getting hit by these guys unnecessarily. And there might be another guy that falls from the sky. I'm just going to go ahead and just keep firing here. And no, boss fight. So it's good. I actually got to this boss with the weapon I wanted. If you get to this boss with other weapons, he's really tough to deal with. But he's not too bad with the C weapon. So this guy constantly charges up. And when he moves to one side of the screen, you can actually just shoot to the left-hand side or right-hand side, kind of like so. Your ricochet shot will actually do some damage to him. Now, unfortunately, when he charges up all the way, he does really good damage. It's like 10,000 health or something like that. So what we want to do is hit him rapidly enough to where the charge doesn't go up all the way. And if we successfully do that, we don't take that much damage. Now, what I do, as long as I've got the C weapon here, I'll just tank these lasers. The lasers themselves don't actually do that much damage. It's the fully charged blast that does a crap ton of damage, and you can't avoid it. It's unavoidable, unfortunately. So, and this is a really hard fight if you don't have the C weapon, I found. Like, I got here once with the spread shot, and you just have to mash so much with the spread shot. Even if you use the charge function with the spread shot, you still have to mash a ton, and I just wasn't able to do it. It's too much going on. Alright, so this level, complete memorization as well. We're going to jump and shoot, just like that, and we're going to stop here. You want to watch the waterfalls in this section. A lot of the waterfalls have these mines, and the mines will basically follow the flow of the water. And since there's no water next to those little waterfalls, we're basically going to just watch out for those. And then jump and shoot again. And we're going to go ahead and stay charged up here. Or not. And I got hit by those, unfortunately. And jump and shoot. Jump over those mines, just like so. Gonna go ahead and just let that fall down. And we died. I always make that mistake. I always make that mistake when I get to this level. So again, this is the whole memorization aspect when you're playing this game. If you do not have every little ounce in detail memorized, you are going to die in this game, and it gets really frustrating. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sit against this box. It'll give us the C attack. Since there's flowing water, notice that Batman gets pushed, and your power-ups get pushed as well. And jump like that. Shoot right there. And shoot right there as well. Just let that disappear. And remember, there's going to be a guy right here. So we're going to jump. And just shoot like that. So no water going to the left or right hand side, so I can just watch these mines and then jump through them. You don't really want to walk through them because Batman takes forever to speed up in this game, which makes, you know, trying to walk through patterns like that very difficult to deal with. And this platform, yeah, it doesn't actually come that close to you, so you really need to predict that one and jump on it at the right time. So, second shoot 'em up section. So what we're going to do is just do what we did in the first shoot 'em up section, just use our charged C attack. And again, very easy shoot 'em up section. It's not really a whole lot to talk about, unfortunately. These are probably the parts of the game that are the most half-baked, I would say. Which is kind of a shame, because, again, like I said on the first shmup section, they are fun. Especially if you have other attacks. I actually don't find them as fun with the C attack. because it's a very slow gun. It's just a big, maybe it stands for cannon or something like that, I don't know. But it's a very slow firing attack. But I want it for most of the playthrough. If I don't have it for most of the playthrough, a lot of parts of the game are more difficult than they really need to be. Your normal weapon, the N weapon, whatever it stands for, you know, kind of spreads over top and down below, and it can actually end up going over or under enemies, which is frustrating. The spread shot's good as well, but you have to really make contact with all the shots for it to do the most damage. And there we go. We've got Gold Batman again. So let's go ahead and just keep jumping here and go through this section quickly. Oops. Good section. That was a good time to get Gold Batman, actually. Alright, so we're going to jump through this and fail at that too, but that's okay. The next section coming up is actually pretty easy. No enemies here. We just have falling platforms to deal with. Oop. I'm saying it's easy, and I almost died. You can actually bust open these boxes, too, if you want to switch your weapon. But we're not going to switch our weapon. We're going to stick with this weapon for just about the rest of the game. And this is our next auto-scroller. And the focus on this are the traps on to the left-hand side of the screen. This guy that constantly pops out of this tank, he's basically on a timer. He always pops out, you know, on the same interval, basically. So we're going to shoot him like that, and watch out for these spiked balls. And also watch out for the falling platforms on the right. Those are the 3 points of contention. Otherwise, this section's actually really easy, as long as you're focusing, and focusing on the guy popping out of the tank, because he throws grenades, which will hit you, and sometimes those grenades will hit you and knock you to the right-hand side, and you will probably end up falling to your death. But as long as you focus on him immediately, not too difficult to deal with. Just like so, and that's pretty much going to be it. There's nothing else here. We can just push over to the left. And now we fight the Joker. Not the final Joker. We fight him twice in this game. But this is our first Joker encounter. So what we're going to do is just sit over here to the left-hand side of the screen and just walk underneath these bubbles. Just like so. So you really don't want to be on the right-hand side of the screen at all, because Joker will dash down just like he just did twice there. But as long as you're sitting to the left here, you are pretty much 100% safe, as long as you're good with your bubble dodging. And he's almost dead. There we go. So I always prefer to use my charge attack on bosses like that, because more projectiles will make contact with him, and more projectiles will also spread apart, which will do more damage. If I just shoot like this regularly, it doesn't do nearly as much damage unless I'm up close. If you get up close, you'll notice that you can fire constantly, like that, but if you're far away, you won't do nearly as much damage, because you're not attacking as rapidly. So the candles on this level are actually very important to keep in mind. So there's going to be one right here. We're going to duck, just like so. Very trollish level design again, like I said earlier. We're going to go ahead and kill these enemies. There's going to be another set right here, just like that. And then this one is really trollish. You want to move over, trigger it, and then move back to the left. Okay. Apparently two of them were straggling. That was kind of odd. Let's go ahead and duck right here as well. And kill this guy, just like so. And that's it. First section down. What I'm going to do here is actually end up switching to our spread shot. This is one of the only times in the game where I switch to the spread. And let's go ahead and die, because dying is good for you. You know, happens to everyone eventually. And unfortunately, you don't actually get any checkpoints on this level. So, we are going to get wrecked by this guy, apparently, because he takes an insane amount of hits. Unfortunately, your main little gun here when you die just isn't that powerful. Let's go ahead and switch back over to C, just like so. And take some hits here. I almost don't even care at this point. Because I ended up dying twice. I died at parts that I don't normally die at, unfortunately, so it's not a huge deal. yeah, just keep in mind that when you play this game, you do get unlimited continues. And you do get your health back on boss fights as well, which is nice. So one of the reasons I died here is I just sat here too long by these bubbles, and I almost got knocked into that pit by these lasers and whatnot. Maybe we can get Gold Batman one more time. Probably not. So go ahead and shoot those bubbles, jump on this platform just like so. And then we're going to duck right here, and then jump again. Notice that you can do baby jumps in this game. You don't have to jump all the way up. You can do baby jumps by just tapping the A button. And then that's it. We're going to be at the boss fight here in just a moment. That was actually a very tight jump. And so for our first form of Joker, we're gonna book it to the... Actually, we're just gonna stay here on the left-hand side. And then dash over here like this, and take a hit. Not a big deal. So these little turrets really aren't too bad to deal with. You can just jump like that, and just fail like I'm doing right now. But it's basically repeatable patterns. You know, he shoots out these green things, and then he shoots out these glowing balls from these glowing turrets. And so with the spread shot here, we can just sit back like this and just destroy those from a safe distance. And if we wanted to, what we can do is just sit here and just constantly tap the fire button at a moderate pace so we don't wear out our hands. And I hope you guys don't mind flashing lights, because there's a lot of that in this game. When I was streaming this on Twitch, a lot of people complained about this, and I don't blame them, because it's probably even worse when you're watching it you know, on a compressed video feed. So what Batman does here is he shoots out these projectiles like that, and then he shoots out these other green projectiles, and we jump over the green projectiles. And when he raises his hands, what happens is he shoots those fireball projectiles in the direction that you're closest to him. So I was on the right-hand side. He will always shoot them to the right-hand side once he raises his arms. So we're going to go ahead and just rinse and repeat like this. Raises his arms, dash like that. Now if I wanted to, I could use the charge attack with the spread shot. And dash just like so. And you can see how much damage the charge attack does on the spread. It's actually a very good charge function. And you can actually kill Joker a little bit faster that way. But the key to this fight is just taking your time and understanding his pattern. If you don't, you can get wrecked pretty quickly. Dash just like that. And when you're shooting him with the spread shot, you just want to make sure that all your shots are connecting, because that's how you do the most damage. And dash like that. And we're good. And that's it. That is Batman Return of the Joker for the NES. Like I said, it's not a game I recommend to everybody. It's not a very easy pick up and play kind of game. It's very, very heavy on the memorization. But if you're a fan of memorization-heavy games, then I do recommend trying it. It's got great graphics. It's got some, you know, some good sound. I don't like all the tunes in this game, whereas on Batman on NES, I pretty much like everything that's in the game. But some of the tunes, like the first level theme, great music in my opinion, and I'll probably end up recording it for myself just to have to listen to. So yeah, there are some great elements to this game, but to me it's kind of a disappointing follow-up to the original game. Batman on NES is probably one of my favorite games on the system. And this one is definitely an acquired taste, I think, in comparison. It's not for everybody, it's not as easy to get into. But again, if you like challenging, very memorization and precision-focused gameplay, you will probably like this. So If you give it a try, hopefully this video has been helpful for you. And if you have played it before, but you've struggled with the game, again, hopefully the video has helped you with it. If you have anything to say, if you want to speak your mind, you have any comments or opinions about this game, feel free to post them down in the comments below. Or if you have any other tricks or whatnot that I don't know about, that I haven't demonstrated in the video, feel free to share those as well in the comments section. But that's pretty much going to do it for me, guys. I don't have anything else. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing. I've got a lot of Let's Plays here, and many, many more to come. Feel free to give the video a thumbs up or thumbs down, depending on if you liked it or not. For everyone already subbed, thank you for your continued support. And until the next one, take it easy.